The big Tony Awards show will be held this week, so we've got a little Broadway trivia for you. Unlike the Oscars, which is the name of the statue, the Tony is named after a real person. Well, the highest honor in American theater is named after, drum roll please, Antoinette Perry. Antoinette took to the stage in 1920 and blazed a trail for women in the theater. She was an actress, but also a producer and director, roles typically held by men. Upon her death in 1946, her friends wanted to honor her memory, so they created the Antoinette Perry Award for Excellence to recognize the best on Broadway. Well, while presenting one of the awards at the first show in 1947, producer Brooke Pemberton referred to it as a Tony, and it's been a nickname that has endured ever since. So, we're going to be talking about the Tony Awards this week. Any favorite shows that you saw this year?
Not a one.
Not a one, okay. Well, and that's probably a little reflective of the fact that the sales on Broadway are not too good right now. In fact, the lights are dimming a little bit. They're saying that it's a real problem right now. What are your thoughts on that, Dee Dee?
Well, I love Broadway shows, and actually I saw Bring It On, which I'm sure you all will love this because it's about cheerleading. However, it's up for Best Musical. And it's so good because they do all these pyramids and it's acrobatics, and you're entertained the whole time. So it's really a great show, so I hope it wins. So anyway, that's a plug of the show that I want to win. But I think to what you're saying about the lights dimming, I think that ebbs and flows in Broadway, you know, and a lot of it depends on what the shows are. You know, I've seen some really challenging shows, like there was Magic Bird, which is about Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. I loved it, but I'm from Indiana.
You're from Indiana.
But you know what? Guess what? It was on for about 2 weeks. So you got to kind of pick and choose, you know, what's going to work in New York. I don't think most people are not going to want to come to New York to probably see a show like that, which was reflective.
And the price tag is up there. I mean, you're looking at $100 a show, sometimes $200 if you want the orchestra seats. Does Broadway have to rethink their financial end? I mean, you know, do they need to appeal to more of a mass audience?
But I think that's been the problem, that they've been trying to appeal to a mass audience. I mean, I remember the days that Broadway was Broadway. It was about good theater, about good art. And what it's become is kind of like Disneyland. You know, now we have these shows that appeal to the tourists who come in and go, "Oh, I'm going to pay $200
like
to see a Broadway show."
Like Spider-Man. You probably think of like Spider-Man, because
you know,
it's kind
something like that. But very, very few good shows are on Broadway anymore because they're going for the big names. Let's put a television star in it and sell it for a lot of money.
Oh, and they love their movie stars.
You know, and that's so sad. I'm going to share a story with you. Helen Hayes, the First Lady of the American Theater. There's a story about how she was in St. Joan. This was back in the 50s. And she came out the stage door, and the audience was so transfixed with her performance that they didn't even clap that night. They just parted ways and let her pass through.
Wow.
And she said she knew she was that fantastic that night. That's not going to happen anymore because there are no more Helen Hayeses. You've got sitcom stars who get applause when they just walk onto the stage.
Nathan Lane. Now he's an
actor.
So good. He's so good.
a very good actor.
And the producers did so well, so that just tells you great actors will bring.
One, and I wish there was more like that and serious shows on Broadway, but there's not.
This year they're wondering, because Nathan Lane's going to go up against Tom Hanks. That's one of the most watched races of the Tonys this year. Any thoughts on that? Any predictions?
I'm for Nathan Lane, for
Nathan
sure.
Lane?
Tom Hanks, it's like,
he's got a couple Oscars.
I think the only reason that show's even up for an award's because he's starring in it. I mean, it's an okay story, I guess, but I think it's because of his name. And you know, and I'm sure he gets paid a lot of money. I don't know, maybe he's doing it for free. But a lot of these shows, if they cost so much, if they're having to hire the Matthew Brodericks of the world, he's actually quite good, but these big stars, well, that probably cuts into the profits.
Well, let's talk about rethinking that. I mean, when you do think about a live show, you have, in some cases, you have your orchestra, you have your lighting people, you have, and when you get right down to it.
And their union.
Yeah, they're union, and then you have your obviously your actors and actresses. So what do they do? Where can they cut, and can they do anything that will appeal more to get more people in the doors?
No, I think that's what they're doing now. And that shows us the quality of the shows on Broadway.
I think we should go with no names. I like going to see no name actors because
you're one person.
That's nice though. You know, because you've got, you know, the television actors, movie stars. Why can't Broadway have their own actors? You know, and when I shouldn't say no name, but people that are not in other mediums. I just think it's nice. It's like,
I
there's
think
a
it's
Broadway
beautiful.
star.
I think it's a beautiful thing. And I always say that I've seen some of the best acting from no-name people during auditions. However, nobody's going to come in from
The love for the art. They want to see Tom
no one's
Hanks, or they
coming
want to
in
see.
from
There's
Ohio
nothing
and
like
see nobody.
live theater, though. I mean, it's just so
Yeah,
riveting
it's
when
a
you're there. Even like a
wonderful-
live TV show right now, when it's live, you just
It's
don't
exciting.
know
You
what's
don't
going
know
to
what's
happen.
going to happen. That's right. And,
Right.
Then, and they have to improvise, or something goes on that's not supposed to, and then you see, the real artist at work, because they're able to handle anything. It's really extraordinary, actually.
Right, but I think that the unions have a lot to do with it. Many moons ago, I was a tour guide for Radio
Yeah,
City
Jack,
Musical.
you're going to get some unions. That makes me happy.
No, but it was so expensive,
It is expensive.
to
Yeah.
mount this show. And they would do 6 shows a day at the peak and just bring those tours in at $100 a ticket to try to recoup the money.
Well, I wanted to take my mother to go see Jersey Boys. I couldn't get a decent ticket for
Yeah.
$150.
I'm still
Right.
waiting for Book of Mormon to go down. It's still
down.
so expensive, but would love to see that show. It's supposed to be really good.
Yeah.
Well, we've got Neil Patrick Harris. He's going to be hosting the Tony Awards. Thoughts on him doing this?
I think he's cute.
I think he's great.
Yeah.
Doogie Howser,
Yeah.
How I Met Your Mother. I love this guy, and this is his 4th time. And here's trivia for you, ladies. Who is the person who's only hosted them one more? There's one person who's hosted it more than Neil Patrick Harris, and they hosted it 5 times.
Uh-oh.
Don't know. Who?
Angela Lansbury.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of a fun little
She's
bit
terrific.
of
Yeah.
trivia. Now, I love the Tony Award name because it was after a woman.
I think that Tony Awards story is fantastic, and so are you ladies. It is time to go, but we thank you again for being on Fresh Outlook, and we'll see you back here next week. And we'll see you here back next week as well. We hope you enjoyed Fresh Outlook and enjoy the Tonys this weekend. Thanks for spending an hour with us. I'm Mia Toschi. Have a terrific week, and we'll see you back here next week.
Did not know that. Did not know that. Who? Antoinette. I know. I had heard the name.